Hey folks, Kaya here. I Should Roll will always be free to listen to, but it's not free to make. So please consider supporting us by subscribing to our Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/Intergalactic Improv Initiative. You'll find the link in the show notes. As a stellar streamer, you'll receive exclusive bonus content and our enduring gratitude. Tiers start at $2 per month. See you on Calliope Station.
Correctly with the correct amount.
D20 Radio, where gamers roll.
www.d20radio.com.
A podcast by the Intergalactic Improv Initiative.
Dangerous Dangers, Episode 20, Questionable Status. Featuring the voices of Alanya Campbell, Tiff Compton, Amanda Cotter, Maria Damianou, Lea Lawson, Dan Spitaliere, and creator Kaya Renwick. The measure of intelligence is the ability to change. I Should Roll. Last time on Dangerous Dangers. Upon arriving in the Widow system, Captain Bailey of Citadel Security hailed the Corsica with an urgent request for assistance. The Corsica docked to find an incursion in progress from someone aboard Athena's personal ship, the Sonder. This unknown person was shooting to kill, seemingly with little regard for the identity of their targets. Using a scavenged harpoon spike, some top-notch hacking, and a dash of emotional connection, the crew brought down the shield surrounding the Corsica and discovered the attacker was none other than Marco, Athena's AI. Marco's new mech body shorted out after the battle and played a threatening message from Minos, promising further retribution toward Marco and Kiara if Jesse and the Marathon were not delivered to the insurgent group. The threat came with a pile of goodies to sweeten the pot, along with more unsettling promises.
January 21st, 2189. Terran Universal Coordinated Calendar. The Citadel. Widow System. Serpent Nebula. Tayseri Ward. Private Docks.
We return to the scene of the Citadel. There are CSEC officers being triaged and medics helping those wounded and moving those who are perhaps too far gone. Clous is on the Corsica. Nyx is helping the CSEC officers. Jesse is unconscious on the catwalks, and we left Solace in the background of the battle, having broken through to Marco and helped bring this battle to an end. Vraga is also on the catwalks in the aftermath, and Athena was the only one who actually came up to the hatch of the Sonder to speak to Marco before Marco deactivated, for lack of a better term. So that is where we're going to pick up. Athena, you are at the hatch, the airlock to your beloved ship, with your companion in a new form, unconscious as it were, on the deck in front of you. You have all just received generous offers or interesting gifts from Minos, with the serious catch that if you do what they want, they'll give you lots more, but if you don't, then Marco and Kiara are on a literal deadline.
Hate that. Okay, well, she wants to take a couple of steps into the ship that is open, but A, he's on the floor and she probably needs to move him, and B, Vraga is still within sight and she'd prefer to go in alone. So she calls out to Vraga, "Hey, you know our little slumped man there, could you take him back to the Corsica for us?"
Yeah, you gonna be okay alone here?
Oh yeah. Oh good.
Hey, if you say so.
Uh-huh.
And Vraga is going to go over to Jesse and pick him up like she's bringing him over the threshold. You know? Love lift us up where we belong style. Because if we didn't have enough of that joke last session, I'm gonna just hammer it home.
We gotta bring it back again. Naturally. Okay, Athena, you are alone at the entrance to your ship.
Yeah, at least in theory, she is very skeptical because that ship was just taken over, presumably because Marco was. So can I do an investigation to see if there's any traps for me?
You sure can.
Excellent. Oh, that's a 23.
Hey, you step in cautiously, but you know this ship inside and out. And you know which traps are your traps and what shouldn't be there. And you don't see anything installed that shouldn't be there. However, you do immediately find a whole bunch of crates, which you very quickly realize are the shipping crates for the guns Marco was carrying and the mech body, the chassis that he has uploaded himself into, as well as all of the turrets that he had installed in the nearby areas. So, this is the equivalent of walking in and seeing a mountain of Amazon boxes.
I was about to say.
In your front porch. Yeah. And they're all labeled like priority delivery, same hour delivery sort of thing. So there is this mountain of crates, one of which is quite large. There was probably some IKEA assemblage involved, but probably not all that much because Marco didn't have somebody else to put things together, unless he hired like TaskRabbit or something, or got somebody to come help. But I don't really see that happening.
We know a guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the first thing you notice after you see, okay, well, my ship's not immediately about to kill me. Other than that, the Sonder looks completely normal. As you move further into the ship, everything, again, looks completely normal. You don't see anything out of the ordinary. And you make it all the way to the bridge, to the cockpit, with no sign of anything being truly amiss, other than the fact that Marco ordered some serious military-grade ordnance and apparently got away with it.
Well, Marco, I sure hope you put that on your card. But she wants to trust her eyes, but she's like, it's weird that, nothing is wrong because everything feels wrong to her. Everything feels wrong.
You do also see the charging pad for the mech. That is, it's like, it's been hastily set up off to the side somewhere, obviously not in this is where it's gonna live. This was I gotta plug this thing in and charge it up before I can use it sort of thing, and it's kind of in the way. The Roomba's dock sort of in the middle of the room.
Yeah, you have to pay extra for that with Task Hijack.
It's true.
You want it pre-charged? Batteries not included. Alright, well, she gives the charging station a little kick. I guess that's where I put him. And then she goes to walk back outside the ship, and because she's so focused on him, her elbow clips one of the hidey holes on the wall and it knocks free some stuff. And she bends down because she catches a glint in her eye. It's a knife. It is a jagged old thing, and she starts chuckling to herself because when she bends down to pick it up, she realizes that part of the letters have been worn off with time, and I guess you could understand some of the letters as ATCH. And she's like, I wonder if you lemmings made it this far. Anyway. And she goes to put it back on the shelf, but then sees a little note, a card, maybe the size of a business card. It's very dusty, and she realizes what it is. She hasn't looked at it in years. She picks it up. Her hand is shaking because the timing of this is ridiculous. Minos giving word about her mother, and then she has a note here. Kind of relevant to that, but she doesn't want to look at it, so she taps her hard suit. A little compartment opens up, and she just puts it in there. Doesn't know why she's keeping it with her, but she's got it. And then walks outside and uses her biotics to lift up Marco, because she sure as shit isn't being able to pick him up, and hovers him back inside, places him on that charging port, and then... I hope this charges quickly.
I'm imagining this, one of the Borg regeneration cube little hubbies from Voyager and TNG and so on and so forth. So you're just like standing and the little panel over the top of the head kind of lights up and is glowing.
Oh, the tube kind of.
Yeah, it's sort of this little half-open tube sort of dealio. Marco does not immediately wake, but definitely see that it automatically turns on and the mech is recharging. Up to you what you want to do next. If you want to keep digging or wait for Marco to wake up, we can also pop over to others, whatever makes most sense here.
She looks at him up and down, because she's seen him in every form imaginable in his holograms, but now he has a physical body, and it is bizarre. She loves the choices that he's made, but it's just interesting, so she's almost to the point of transfixed on it as the light, like, goes in and out and glows and indicates that it is charging, but she has to draw herself away, and I'd like to... I don't know if it's called a hack because it's my own ship, but I'd like to go on the consoles and just see if I can pick up a trace of any tampering.
It's still going to be a hacking check. You're not hacking into it, but it's the same set of skills.
Sure.
So yeah, hacking check,
Okay.
please.
Okay. 17.
Okay. All you find is what Marco has been doing.
Okay.
You find the records of his purchases, which he has routed through several accounts, so God only knows who actually paid for them. And the setup of everything, but as far as you can tell, sometime in the time that you guys were in FTL between Ilium and the mass relay, sometime in that 8 to 10 hours, he went off the rails. You don't have more information than that because you would need to go into like the AI, into the blue box to see if something happens to him that's not on this part of the computer.
Okay. Darling, what the hell happened? Marco, can you She realizes that he's still charging. The words fall on dead air. And I think she'd like to check that blue box, but that's usually a Lelisi Zahn situation, so I don't know that I can. I might just have to wait for him to wake back up.
I mean, why not try?
I mean, if I'm allowed.
What could go wrong?
Famous last words.
Okay.
Do it.
Well, he's not distracting me, so...
Hacking check. Hacking check.
That was only a 10.
So you go into the back room where you keep Marco's architecture, apart from the mech now, where Marco actually lives, and you pull it up and start typing, and you very quickly realize that you can't make heads or tails of this. And as you're valiantly trying, how are you feeling as you're trying to dig into this? A lot has happened in the last probably not even an hour.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? What is going on Athena's face and her body language? What is happening in this moment? If someone was there, what would they see?
She definitely would be muttering. They'd see her normally graceful movements are actually quite tense and sharp, short, maybe occasionally tapping on something out of frustration. You'd actually see the biotics around her just flaring a little bit because she feels violated. Absolutely violated. Someone has broken into her ship and threatened the closest people to her. The only things that maybe matter. So, rage. Blinding rage, and then waves of distress on Marco's behalf because what made him do this? Why would he think that she died? Who dared to put him through that? She is not a happy camper, and she wants heads to roll.
Right. We are going to leave Athena valiantly attempting to hack into Marco's box. And I think, Vraga, as you're walking over to the Corsica with Jesse, how How gentle are you trying to be? And how successful do we figure that gentleness is?
The attempt is there, 100%. But you know the kind of care that you put into grabbing a sack of potatoes off of a grocery aisle and putting it into a cart?
Sakopata.
About that, I mean, she is well aware his skull was recently opened. So she's definitely making a conscious effort to not jostle his brain around too much. But you know.
What brain?
She can only do so much. She can only do so much.
The new one that he just had put in.
Yo, no, you're right. You're right.
I'll start rolling a new character. Don't worry about it.
Death saves. No.
Roll to resist internal bleeding.
Yeah, right? I think as you're making your way through and you're trying your best, this means you're a little slower than usual. And I think, Jesse, you wake up at a very strange angle and you're not quite sure what's going on. Your head is fucking killing you. And I think the stims that Nyx gave you are wearing off. So you feel like death warmed over. But yeah, you wake up. You guys haven't quite made it to the Corsica yet. You're like almost there.
What?
Vraga, do you notice this?
Oh, good morning, sunshine.
This is starting to become a thing with the crew carrying me, isn't it? Ugh.
Yeah, I'm gonna start charging you.
Ugh.
Can I ask a logistics question?
Mm-hmm.
Because you said you're carrying him like a sack of potatoes. Is that like an...
No. So that was a metaphor, but she actually is carrying him like a baby. Like.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out like which way his head was facing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not a fireman carry. She's actually carrying him like a child.
Hi.
So the weird angle is probably because your head is sort of like against the side of the armor sort of thing. Yeah.
You can see the underside of her chin and almost nothing
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think I'll try standing.
I mean, if you're sure.
No.
She'll stop and she'll like allow him to move if he can from her arms.
He has to jump down.
Well, I think she's gonna put his feet on the ground.
You're just gonna drop me?
Oh yeah, I mean like she kind of I guess just lets her one arm down to let his legs touch the ground.
Like a cat, like you drop a cat and it just rotates, except fail.
I kind of like that even better, but
Oh my god. Okay, well, Vraga, decide how you're putting him down because it's going to determine what I get him to roll.
do I go comedy or do I do the right thing?
What would
Vraga
Vraga do in this moment? What would Vraga do?
Vraga would stop, and I feel like she would just take her arms out from under how she's carrying his legs and let his legs just hit the ground. She still has an arm around his back.
One arm, not two arms. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
One arm.
Okay.
She still has one arm around his back.
God.
That changes the DC for this considerably.
Okay, good.
Give me a dex save.
Save.
That's not bad, but
Do I have like any subtraction or disadvantage or whatever? Just checking before I say the number.
Actually, I'd probably say this would probably be at disadvantage.
Oh no.
Because of how shitty you're feeling.
I will roll again.
No drugs.
There's a 19 with the disadvantage, so.
oh damn, nice.
Wow.
All right. Much to your surprise, I think the muscle memory kicks in. And you land on your feet. You still feel like ass, but you land on your feet and you don't immediately fall over. So you're okay. You can stand. You can probably even move. But my god, if somebody shines more light in your eyes, you're gonna kill somebody.
I got this. Ugh, shit. I'm picturing like that cartoon thing where you land on your feet and you just see like shivers go all the way up.
Okay. So yeah, you guys are there. You do not know what is going on with anybody else, and we're actually going to hop over to Solace. So, Solace, you spent most of the battle sort of tucked away, listening to the songs of what was going on around you. As the battle was won, you heard the being who, you don't actually know who that is, you heard their song go quiet. Not silent, you can still hear it, but it's much quieter now, and considerably less raucous and jagged. It's similar to, what happens when an organic person falls asleep. So it's the same sort of thing. However, you can hear, of course, everybody else's songs. Because you are so tuned in and you spent that time paying attention, I'm going to say that some of that is carrying over. Normally, you have to focus to hear somebody's song, but you spent that time to attune yourself to your colleagues. So you can hear Athena's anger and violation and rage from inside the ship. What would Solace hear from Vraga and Jesse right now? Just in a few words.
I guess relief from Vraga, a little bit of discordant confusion because of the money and what she could do with that money, but what that money means.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably all that's going on in her head right now. There's not much going on in there generally, so those two emotions are enough.
It's easy to read, right? Easy to read. Vraga's not complex.
Exactly. It's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, baby. That's her song.
And from Jesse?
Like swirling anguish, pain.
Okay, all right. Say from Nyx. Nyx is very focused. Nyx is helping people. Nyx is... I think there's an undercurrent of confusion and maybe a little bit of, well, that can't be right. Maybe denial. I don't want to speak too much for Maria here, but there's some of that going on in the back of her mind. And what is Solace getting from Clous?
Solace is getting from Clous a very percussive, heavy song. Almost like she can hear her racing heartbeat. It is a mixture of gray and blue. Like the upbeat is blue and the downbeat is gray.
Okay. Solace, do you want to act on any of that right now? Or do you want to wait and sit with it for a minute?
I feel like Solace would wait and sit with it because
okay.
I know during the battle they spent a lot of, it's meta now. They spent a lot of stress points. Yeah. It's like 7 out of 8 right now. So
wow. Holy, okay.
For them, I guess the way that I would interpret them is like, for me it's like when you're singing and you're not doing, because you're so tired, your voice starts to crack a lot.
Sure, yep.
So it's very much, they just want to relax and kind of sit with this. So they're not going to necessarily be proactive quite yet. They're just kind of like...
Sure.
They're tagging along with like behind Vraga and Jesse. And just to make sure that everything's good. Like Jesse's not falling or anything like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. What's up with Clous right now? What's Clous doing?
Clous is currently huddled in the corner of her cabin, clutching her little Batarian Katu and muttering to herself, panicking. The buried mountain, the burned stream, the broken city. Searching. The buried mountain, the burned stream, the broken city.
Okay. As you're all sitting with these, or just existing in these moments, these post-battle moments, Athena, as you are continuing to type, the console locks you out.
Shit.
And you hear footsteps. The Sonder's not terribly large.
No.
So you hear footsteps not coming towards you, but it sounds like they're leaving the ship.
Well then, yeah, she spins on the spot and, like, peeks around the corner, like, while grabbing it, kind of very, very dramatically. Hi!
You see the outer hatch slide shut as you peek out, and you catch a glimpse of Marco's heel He's walking out, the door's closing.
Hey, wait! And then, I want to use my biotics to try and hold the door open so I can, crawl out, crawl under it.
I mean, you could just open the door again.
I wasn't sure if he'd hacked it. I wasn't sure. Yeah, okay.
Okay, that's you can, I would absolutely believe it if Athena's like, don't close that door on me, and throws the field out, not thinking or realize that you could just open it again.
Listen, Athena's brain went all squidgy with Hot Mech Marco. There's nothing going on up there right now.
Oh, come on.
I went back and reread that bit of the chat. I mean, you guys weren't wrong, but there are multiple levels of non-braining going on here, I think, probably. So that's...
I believe the kids refer to that as gooning these days.
If you want to do a biotics roll, go for it. If you want to or if you want to even try it and then realize, wait, I can open my own damn door.
Yeah, I think it's going to be that, to be honest. But I don't need to roll for biotics, do I? I'm just a biotic.
No, this is just you go for it and go, oh, wait, I'm an idiot.
Oh, yeah. Right. Smack. Smacks the panel to open it up.
Sure, okay. You reopen the hatch, and Marco is already halfway to the Corsica. He's a fast boy.
Okay, I use stasis on him.
Okay.
I haven't done that yet.
Rolling a check. Rolling a check.
What's your class modifier?
Wisdom, that would be 3.
Okay, so then it's... Okay, I do that this way. Okay. You throw the stasis charge, and it glances off a shield.
What?
And Marco's still going. He looks like he's heading for the Corsica. And as he's passing you, he's passing CSEC officers and the rest. Those who can move give him a wide berth, but he's not paying attention to any of them. He's heading straight for the Corsica.
What, did you forget to install your ears? Marco! I'm actually going to launch, God, what would be soft? There's probably nothing around I can throw. Maybe
he's at least 50 meters away at this point.
Oh, so
at least.
Okay, I'm running then. She's a runner. Yeah, okay, I'm running.
Okay, he goes past. I think he brushes past. Solace, you see him go. You realize that this is who the song was coming from, and Marco passes Vraga and Jesse as you guys are getting to the Corsica hatch.
Oh,
they're not far away.
Mm-hmm. No,
the ships were not far away. There were 2 berths. So Marco goes right past you guys and heading for the Corsica hatch. Athena, you were probably maybe 10 meters behind him if you're full out sprinting.
Yeah.
Okay, he is striding, he has not changed pace, but he is a very fast mech, right? So it's not, a Loki mech, which is kind of shuffling along. He's just going. So yeah, he brushes past you guys, doesn't acknowledge you, and is heading for the Corsica.
Hey! I run past Vraga and Jesse and, push them. Kind of try to do it lightly, but at the speed she's going, it's probably not that nice. Excuse me?
Vraga, I don't know if you've done any... I am absolutely drawing my weapon.
Oh, shit.
Fair response.
I mean, he was shooting at us moments ago. I don't know where CSEC is. I can't imagine they're happy with this either, so I am definitely,
No, I think this is happening fast enough that there's a couple of seconds of, wait what? And then those who can pull weapons are also pulling weapons.
Yeah, I will limply pull out my weapon as Athena, runs through me.
Yeah, wait, what the fuck? Wasn't this guy just unconscious? Or Athena, what the hell's going on?
Just wait. And she freezes both of them when she says wait because she doesn't want him to get shot. They'd still be aware of what she's doing, but they can't move for a little bit.
Okay, I would like DC 15 wisdom saves from both of you.
That's got to be a disadvantage for me.
Yes, it would absolutely be a disadvantage for you.
Just not quadruple disadvantage anymore now that you have a brain again.
A 14.
That's a 3.
Damn. Oh, so close. So you are both briefly stasised. You do still see what's going on. You just can't move. So Athena, were you doing this as you were coming up to them, or did you turn around to do it?
It would have to be turning around because I wouldn't have known that Jesse drew a gun.
Sure. Yep. Fair enough.
Yeah. So kind of half to each.
By the time you've turned back around, Marco is in the Corsica.
Okay, well, I was going to get you here eventually. Hello? God damn it, is it you?
I'm going to pause very briefly. We've just got Maria.
Hello.
Hey, baby.
Yes, hello.
Hello. You are welcome to jump in at any point. Yes, Alanya.
I was going to ask, do I get a song from Marco as he's passing by? Or...
Good question. Yeah, you absolutely do. As Marco strides from the Sonder to the Corsica, you get determination, you get disbelief, you get confusion, you get anger, and under it all, there is this underlying current of horror and fear and denial. He is on a mission, and he doesn't like the mission. You don't get any sort of feeling of like the danger, the out of control rage that you felt before. Just sort of like the rock in the pit of your stomach that this can't be real. This can't be real. So there's it's blacks and dark grays and like the scrape of metal on metal in the background. Okay, as this is all happening at the same time, does Solace want to do anything before I hop back over to Athena?
I believe they would have noticed that Jesse was drawing a weapon. So they were right behind Vraga and them. So they will alert Vraga, Jesse, and Maria.
Nix.
Nyx. He is no longer an enemy. He's on a mission, just like us. Do not hurt him.
Are you telling Athena this as well, or just Vraga, Jesse, and Nyx?
Athena as well.
Okay, just making sure. That could have been a very specific choice.
I should have said everyone.
Everyone except Clous. Clous is busy crying.
Clous is crying. Clous is having a time. Everybody's having a time, frankly.
And they would also turn around to the Corsica too.
Okay.
Well, while I hear that, if he were on a mission of his own volition, he would have told me or at least said one damn word to me. So I actually pull a knife and I'm looking him dead in the eye. It's not anywhere near him and it's probably ineffectual, but like I'm aiming to look at anyone who's potentially looking through him.
Okay. So he has walked into the Corsica. You are following him in. You guys are in the main room. He is looking around. He has not yet turned around to you.
Okay.
Right now, his back is to you. Are you getting around in his face, or are you speaking to him and expecting him to turn around?
I'm going to walk in his field of vision, but not closer to him.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to catch his eyes or whomever's eyes. Is this you?
So he's looking around, and then it's almost like he ignores you for a couple of seconds, and then you do the, is this you? And he turns and he looks down at you, and he takes a couple of steps towards you. Do you back off? Do you get closer?
I prepare to back off.
Okay. He takes another couple of steps and reaches up to put his hands on your shoulders. Do you react?
Can I biotically lift something else in the corner? So I'm still letting him approach me, but like I'm ready to throw something at him if I need to.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, I do that. I'm prepping, but I'm allowing it.
So he actually puts one hand on your shoulder and the other hand goes to close over your hand with the knife. He's moving slowly and deliberately.
Uh-huh.
And if you will allow him to cover that hand, it is not to hurt. It is just to stop.
Okay. I'm going to allow it because I have other knives. And I want to trust that this is him as well. So I think that overrules my survival instinct right now.
Okay. Okay. So one hand over the knife, and you do immediately get the sense that he could snap your wrist with like one movement.
Oh, yeah.
This is very much the you could kill me very quickly without really thinking about it. Other hand on your shoulder, he is looking straight into your eyes,
Okay.
And with the utmost seriousness, he says, I saw you die. So you'll forgive me if I'm a little suspicious.
You know what? I get that. But you running off and not saying anything to me makes me suspicious.
How do I know that you are who you say you are?
You can ask me. You can look at me, you can hold me.
You could lie.
I am pretty good at that, but you know my tells.
I watched you die.
You know, Minos just fed all of us, well, presumably, a whole bunch of lies. So what makes you think that they didn't lie to you?
As this conversation is happening, Vraga and Jesse, your stasis has finished. Are you four coming into the ship?
Yeah, you better fucking believe it.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Just making sure. So you guys are coming in behind. You see this. I'm going to say that this, again, it's all happening very much at the same time. So you will have heard most, if not all, of this exchange. Clues, I feel like
There's a ruckus happening?
Yeah, there's noise. I don't think they're being particularly quiet. You've probably heard the door open a couple of times. Like, in between sniffles, you probably get the sense that something's happening, even if you're not quite sure what. So, are you also joining? What's the plan here?
Clous is not joining, but she is going to, inch her way towards the door, sort of laying on her side. You know how, in movies, when they, kind of open the door just a little peek, and then they, put their head out, barely. So, yeah, she's gonna, slide her way down the floor towards the door and pop it open and just kind of, look outside, so only her eyes are showing.
Okay. You're at the entrance to the common room.
Yeah.
Peeking in. Okay. Does anybody else want to have input or say that they're doing something as they're watching this between Marco and Athena?
Only thing I'm going to say is Vraga is going to stow away the fact that Marco said that he watched her die. And it's just going to stow that away in her mind palace for now.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have my hurricane out, but not leveled up, but
Sure.
Yeah, slightly angled down so as that I'm prepared to fire if I need to, but I'm not directly threatening.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. And Nyx? I'm going to say they're probably 5 to 10 meters ahead of you in the center of the room. You guys are at the hatch, having just come in. And yeah, you've heard most, if not all, of that exchange.
Yeah, so Nyx is going to want to investigate because she hears Athena yelling and it's not at her. So what's that all about?
Okay. He keeps the hand over the knife, releases the other hand from your shoulder,
Okay.
and points behind, or points over your, because wherever they are, he points to them and says, because I watched them do it.
Huh? Okay. Nobody shoot anyone. First off. Okay. Marco? If they had shot at me, I'd be firing back at them. No question. And then she's going to switch her language to something that is an amalgamation of Planetiare, French, Gaelic, and Venian. They have a secret language, so she's just going to say to him, 11 months on Intai. Because I don't think other people know that story, and I don't think Minos would know that they spent that wartime there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Nyx, I think you get a couple of words of that.
Yes.
I don't think anybody else would. And I don't think that you would get enough of it to really get the context. But you'd get a couple, enough to be like, what? Roll me charm.
Okay. That is 24.
Jesus.
Very charming.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Marco hears you, and in the same dialect, he says, Can we trust them?
She actually, her hand goes slack to drop the knife, and she pulls him into a really tight embrace, and she whispers into his ear, I don't know yet. I think so. We're going to work it out.
So functionally, this is more like you pulling yourself onto a tree.
There ain't no moving this motherfucker.
You're not pulling him to you. It's more like you pulling yourself up.
Yeah, I'm monkeying.
Yeah.
Well, she has been wanting to climb him.
It's true. But like, yeah, he's solid. You're not moving him. Vraga might be able to.
Well, you're on the right ship, so.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Also true. Also true.
At least Athena doesn't have brittle bone syndrome like Joker does. That's all I'm saying.
No.
Oh no.
A very good thing too. As you do this, and he listens, and there's a heartbeat of time, and then he lets go of your hand and holds you back. And then lets go, puts both of his hands on your shoulders again. And there's a couple of beats, and then he kind of, you get one of his smiles, one of those sort of like cheeky little half smiles when he knows he's done something that you want to scold him for, but you're also sort of proud of him for it. And he kind of goes, well, all right then. I think we all have some explaining to do. And he takes a step back and looks at everyone else. I think he probably sees that, Nyx, you've probably got some blood on your hands, and he scratches the back of his neck in a very obvious organic affectation and says, What's the body count?
The body count? A little bit of here and there. I guess, I don't know. How long have you guys been dating?
He laughs out loud. The tension is broken. He just takes a step back and just cackles. And then he leans into Athena and says, I like this one. We'll keep her.
Well... Maybe I'll tell you later, Nyx. So, medically, what did you see?
I mean, if we're being frank, not enough to make it mean anything. I guess why do you care about how many bodies?
I raise an eyebrow.
He tilts his head and he replies, well, it's one thing to go on a murderous rampage when you're justified in doing so, but when you find out that the reasons that you went on a murderous rampage no longer apply, well, one feels slightly sheepish. And perhaps, like, one should make some, restitution. And so I was simply wondering how many unfortunate letters Captain Bailey was going to have to write on my behalf.
A baker's dozen, I would say.
Understood.
It was really hard. Really hard to gauge, especially when you've got, bodies that are burnt to asunder, kind of in a mound of sorts. And
now, wait a minute. I didn't... You're pulling my leg.
Athena looks down, she's like, it's a very long leg.
Girl.
Well, yes, it is, but that's beside the point. And then as this is being said, he stops himself and says, wait, we're getting distracted. You said Mino sent you things. What did they send you?
That's what I'd like to know, too.
Vraga pipes up and says, credits. Lots of credits. And a message.
And a message.
Suffice it to say, they are interested in their lost package, I guess. And she kind of looks at Jesse.
I holster my weapon, and I go to, slump down in one of the seats, and before this conversation can continue, I'll be like, do you want to say anything to Bailey, or should we leave before C-Sec wants to apprehend your friend, or...
It's not going to happen.
Because I appreciate that you feel guilty for what has happened here. He's probably going to want some kind of answers. Just thought I'd... No, get back to your conversation.
Jesse, I gotta say, I'm really proud of how well your brain is doing after all the shit you've been through the last couple hours. I don't think anyone else is really thinking that clearly at the moment, and that is saying something.
What?
Yeah, well...
You hear Clous from down in, like, the other side of the room in the corner go, supportively, "It's brand new. Working great."
Wait, hi, may as well come in.
Clous continues and just kind of, like, shimmies out, like, on her side a little bit and sort of, like, sits up as she gets out of the door. Just goes, somewhat embarrassed. "Hello?"
Are you okay?
Vulnerably. "No. But I'm here."
Good. Did you get a message too? Because I got a falsified one.
Curious and concerned. What did your message say?
It wasn't a message to me. It was apparently a recording of my mother talking to my father, but it can't be. She died. And they said that they can bring her back. What the fuck? Well, that's some bullshit right there. How dare they use her voice?
Concerned. And panicking. You heard your dead mother, and I heard my dead friend.
More lies. Anyone else get fake messages?
Do we know they're fake?
Yes.
Desperately hoping. Could it not be true that they are alive somewhere?
Clues. Minos is trying to get you to do the unthinkable. They're gonna dangle whatever they think is the most unachievable. It's lies. And we're not going to take Westcott to see if that's true.
Offended. I will not give up my new friend. Softening. But it would be nice to have two friends.
Oof. There are more than that in this room, Clous.
She turns and leaves.
There are more than that in this room.
She closes the door.
There is a knock on the outer hatch.
Vraga's probably the closest, so she's gonna walk over to the door and open it up and say, "No solicitors." She's not gonna close it, though. She's just gonna open it up and say, "No solicitors," and just wait for whatever happens.
But are they Girl Scouts? Do they have cookies?
Do they have cookies?
It's definitely Bailey.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah, and he kind of, the corner of his mouth kind of twitches in amusement at Vraga's comment, but he lets it go and he says, "So, couldn't help but notice the homicidal mech crossing the dock, not hearing any sounds of pitched combat, would kind of like to know what's going on."
We are dealing with the situation, I think. Athena, you got an old friend here that would like some answers. And she just kind of steps back from the door. If Bailey wants to come in, she's not going to stop him.
Okay, as you do, Bailey does start taking a step in, and Marco immediately takes a step back and is like sort of aiming for the other door in the, the very cartoonish, like...
I take its place. Hey, Armando.
Bailey crosses his arms and looks at you, looks at Marco's head above your head, and says, "So what am I writing in my report? And who's going down as responsible for the deaths of 13 of my best officers?
13. At Bailey, I just say, well, it's quite clear who's responsible. It's Minos. They took over the docks. They took over my ship. They took over my friend. And Jesse and I hacked him back. Marco is not responsible.
Marco starts to make a sound behind you and then very obviously stops himself. One of those like, I'm gonna need,
Yep.
I think, well, it sounded like intimidation, but...
I was gonna say deception, but...
Okay, yeah, I'll take deception, sure.
I mean, my intimidation is higher, but I don't think I was trying to make him feel bad, because I like this guy.
Yeah, deception's fine.
Okay.
Can I assist?
19.
Oh, never mind. Yeah.
So with a 19, you've worked with Bailey, or it...
That might be a problem.
You've worked in close proximity to Bailey enough that you know his body language well, and he's like... he wants to believe you and use this, but he's not convinced that he can sell it. And so he's kind of doing the, you got any proof?
I will start to stagger to my feet.
Okay.
It's like barely holding on. And I will start to bring up in my Omni tool visually, not sending it over to him, but just like bring up, here are the... here are my logs of hacking the Sonder, and I was getting assistance from inside. Marco was trying to fight off the counter-programming. I think you could see that here.
He watches, and I think he kind of gets that glazed look, like this is a little above his technical knowledge, but he's seen it, and he's like, all right, I can make that fly, especially with what's been happening elsewhere. I don't like it, but it is what it is. Can you send me copies?
Thank you. Yes, I'll do that right now. Use my Omni tool to pass it over.
Sweet. He confirms receipt and then nods and starts to head for the door.
Hey, Bailey.
He pauses, head over shoulder. Yeah?
I think I run up to him and give him a hug from behind.
Aww, that's precious.
He kind of starts, right? Like that was not what he was expecting, and he's not quite sure what to do with it. He's kind of doing like the awkward, stiff, but not like stopping you or pushing you away. And then I think his hand comes back and he sort of very awkwardly pats you on the shoulder, like he does not know what to do with this. And then he says, yeah, it's been a hell of a day. I need a drink.
Yeah. Well, if you jump into the Sonder and you hit third panel down on the left, there'll be something there.
Is it something that actually went through customs?
You know the answer to that.
And I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that, and I'm gonna go tap on the third panel to the right in my office, and we're gonna pretend this conversation never happened. You have a good night, Athena.
Uh-huh. You too.
And he heads out, and Marco behind you. But when you turn back to see him, well, I think everybody who's still there, I'd love for you to roll me an insight check.
Okay.
5.
17.
4.
And Solace?
You got this, Solace.
Oh, it's 4. It's 4 for me.
Oh, God damn it.
Okay. All right. So the only person who picks up on this is Athena, and that's solely because you've spent enough time with Marco. So yeah, Athena is the only one who picks up on this. And yeah, you can see that he's performing again.
Yep.
This is all performative. He's masking. There is something that he is not saying. That's weighing on him.
I am torn between wanting to maybe interrogate isn't the word, but forcefully ask people what they were offered from Minos, but I think he's the more pressing priority in my mind, so I walk over to him, I grab his hand, and I go to take him up to my room, and I just give a nod to the others.
Marco does not move. He does not follow you. He is anchored in place. And he doesn't pull his hand back, but he looks around, and in this sort of chipper voice,
I have some coordinates in a transmission that is sitting in my inbox all nice and tidy, and well, it sounds like we at least should probably go there and find some things out. I would hate for Kiara to come to any harm.
Oh, I give him the worst look for him mentioning that. I'm mad that he would use that as a way to convince me. So I yank my hand away then, and I head towards the cockpit instead.
As you're doing so, something pings on your Omni tool.
I look at it.
So you received a very large file from Kiara at the same time as you got the call from Bailey.
Oh, no.
And when you initially tried to open it, or when you tried to decrypt it, you got a warning saying, open this and I will end you, essentially. But something, perhaps it was timed, perhaps there was some sort of trigger that you don't know what it was. There is a second message from Kiara that simply says, don't try to open this or it will self-destruct. You'll either receive a key at some point in the future or I'll come back for it. For now, just keep it safe.
And that's the specific language that is written in the text?
Yes.
Okay.
That is a specific language. That is the text of the message.
I don't know if that feels like her. But I also don't like the idea of my left arm exploding. So I will, maybe when Jesse has had a proper nap, I will ask him for his assistance.
So we've got Athena heading for the cockpit, apparently no longer talking to Marco. I feel like days on the Sonder are very interesting. And we have Solace, Jesse, Nyx, and Vraga still in the common room with Marco there. You guys doing anything?
Nyx is curious as to Jesse's condition after the little boost and asks, "Hey, Jesse? How you doing, bud? Do you need anything, or you feeling all right?"
Whatever you gave me, I am coming down from, and it feels like shit.
Yeah. I mean, I can offer you a little bit of the hair of the dog, or might I suggest maybe take some time for yourself, go to the spa, you maybe want to talk about something, what's on your mind. If you need anything, just know that I'm here.
Sincerely, thank you.
And how tall are you? Just out of curiosity.
Sorry, what?
Trying to get a gauge of your height.
Give me a sec.
I forgot what I wrote down for this. I don't know where to find it.
6 feet?
Yeah, 6 or 182. Yep.
Okay. 6 feet.
Okay, 182 centimeters. Your weight? You roughly? How much would you say you weigh?
Or is this like more drugs or like what?
210.
210. Okay. And what kind of haircut would you consider you have right now? Just
okay. I'm good. I'm still wearing a helmet right now. Could I just give me like a minute to, post battle? Shit, is no one worried about the robot? I'm sorry.
Marco kind of waves.
I've heard your voice before, and you.
Don't worry. I think I could take him.
No one's taking anything!
Jesus. Okay,
If you're asking,
you shoot at us. You don't. Yeah, sure, go for it.
if you're asking whether I am going to attack any of you now, the answer is no, unless you give me reason to. As I expect the answer would be from anyone else here.
What are the coordinates?
The coordinates embedded in the transmission left to me by Minos lead to uncharted space, as far as I can tell. I don't believe either of the ships in our possession could make it that far, although it is possible that this one could. I haven't really examined it very deeply. However, I understand and respect that you have no reason to trust me. In fact, I've just given you many reasons not to. And so I will certainly respect your wishes should you ask me to remain here with the Sonder. It is, of course, where my blue box is, regardless. But you have my assurance that as long as you do not harm Athena, or cause anyone else to come to harm, I have no desire to harm any of you.
Insight check?
Absolutely.
I don't know how effective that'll be. I'm dumb as hell.
I am lurking in the background.
Anybody else in the room is welcome to insight as well on this. This was to the...
Sauce will also insight check.
Sure, yep.
12.
4.
20. Not natural 20, just dirty 20.
Dirty 20, okay.
Yeah.
8.
Okay, and Athena, were you inciting as well, or...
No, I believe him.
So, Jesse, you don't know this guy. So, I mean, you're really... And also your head hurts a lot. And so it's hard to say with any sort of definitive... As far as you can tell, he's doesn't seem like he's lying to you. Solace, you have the advantage in this moment of being able to hear Marco's song. And he is telling the truth. He has no reason to hurt any of you. He regrets having done the harm that he did. But underneath all of that, there is a fair amount of self-recrimination at having been deceived. And there is furthermore, underneath all of that, the disquiet of a nightmare you can't quite shake. Up to you what you do with that information.
I'm definitely going to look back at Sal.
I believe him. And they'll do something kind of odd where they'll let out just kind of a huge sigh, like... And I, strangely enough, want a drink. Do any of you wish to have any cocktails? It's been a while since I've had that kind of practice.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Yes.
And Sauce will actually, I guess that would be in the common area wouldn't have that stuff, right?
I absolutely think there would be a bar in this common area,
Okay.
honestly, with this.
A wet bar on this kind of ride? Definitely.
Yeah. There's a bar.
So, Solace will just go to the bar and they'll kind of tend.
Solace, make mine a double.
Of whatever it is.
Yeah, just anything. Just pour 2 and then pour 2 more. So Vraga and Nyx head over with Solace to the bar. Jesse, what are you doing?
I look at Marco and I say, I trust them. And I vouched for you because I trust Athena. And honestly, I think we'd rather have you here in this enclosed space than flying around on another ship where you can, I don't know, maybe Minos can get to you again.
Fair enough.
I know there's a lot going on, and I know I'm what they're looking for. But remember that. Remember how we trust each other.
I will.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll pass on that drink, everyone.
Yeah, I damn well hope so.
Yeah, lest you pass out.
Again.
I'm gonna go lay down.
Clous, how are you doing?
Not great, Captain. Clues. Now instead of simply, well, not simply. Now instead of sad and weepy, she's also angry and trying to center herself a bit more. So she is now sitting on her bed with Katu, and in the style of affectionate bonking, sort of like bonking his head at hers, going, think, 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 think.
All right. After everyone in the common room has either gone to get their drinks or Jesse has headed out to lie down, Marco joins you in the cockpit, Athena. And he doesn't say anything. I assume you're sitting in the pilot seat.
Now that he's come over, yeah.
Seeing you in the pilot seat, he comes over to, he's just behind you and a little on your left. And he'll put a hand on your shoulder and just squeeze gently and sort of meet your eyes in the reflection off the viewport in front of you guys. Meets your eyes briefly and then looks out straight again. And he says,
I'm very glad that what I saw wasn't real. But I need you to know that if that ever does happen, there will be no power that can stop me.
It would be exactly the same from here. I'd burn everything for you.
As would I. On every plane.
In every universe.
You have been listening to I Should Roll, Dangerous Dangers, Episode 20, Questionable Status. Featuring the voices of Alanya Campbell as Solace-Within-Clay, Tiff Compton as Ravanor Vraga, Amanda Cotter as Clous, Maria Damianou as Nyxandra Lalliri, Lea Lawson as Athena Hellier, Dan Spitaliere as Jesse Westcott, and Kaya Renwick as everyone and everything else. Music and sound effects are used under Creative Commons or royalty-free licenses. For the extended credits, please see the show notes. And for more information, please visit ishouldroll.com. Find us everywhere on social media at ishouldroll. And don't forget to leave us a review. I Should Roll is an Intergalactic Improv Initiative production. This fan podcast is a transformative work and is not affiliated with Electronic Arts or BioWare. Thank you for listening. Have a pleasant day.